Hello, today I would like to do a slightly different kind of video and show you some of my art because apart from being a landscape photographer, I'm also a landscape painter. But first, I would like to show you some of my personal art, which is all up here on the wall. And there's a more experimental style paintings. And then later on, I will show you my canvas paintings, which are landscapes. And I will show you some of my inspiration boards as well, such as this one, where I mainly have assembled other artists whose art I like. And if you're interested in that, please stay tuned. Okay, so let's start with an overview of the whole wall. This is one of the very first experimental paintings that I've done. It has a lot of symbolism. You maybe noticed the phoenix there, two of them, trees on fire. Okay, quite like this painting. And I really like this one as well, the phoenix where it appears. I like how the horns of the deer are also branches. Here's me trying to paint birches. It doesn't look very real to life. Also note the wolf and the squirrel. And then this is a fantasy landscape, this time with a fox and a squirrel. And the birches look a little better, but there's a lot more room for improvement just yet. This one looks like a little interesting. I've got the peacock feather. And I love this one as well. I tried to experiment using unusual colours. And it's a winter landscape. I would definitely love to make more of this kind. This one is just a selection of different herbs that you can find in the wild. Some of them you can find in cultivated gardens. This one started off being a tree, but then I felt like adding the 7 chakras to it. And the 7th is the purple that comes out from the top. This is another fantasy landscape, this time autumnal. This was originally a drawing that I had done and I felt inclined to also do as a painting. On the left side it says save and protect in Russian, so that's from a known saying from the Orthodox Russian church. And then we've got, I guess, heaven and hell theme going on. This is kind of mirroring the tree next to it. So we've got the tree in the bottom and the tree coming from the top as well, or the branches I should say. This is one way in which I like to use up leftover paints. So this is all the paints I had left over. We've got an eye and we've got a phoenix, and it's just a fun painting. These two squares in black and white I had drawn up, and then I copied them, and then I glued them onto the background, which is all cosmic looking. Here you have a zoomed out view. It just looks like a big explosion. Maybe that's the Big Bang. And here's another overview. So here's some of my mood boards, you could say. I basically had a whole stack of art magazines, and I kept them for a long time because I wanted to do this project where I would cut out my favourite paintings and I would put them down for inspiration for myself. In the end, I ended up having so many that I just kept making one after the other, and I think I have 6 or 7 or something. And this is a mixture of things, a lot of landscapes, a lot of colours. I'm not the biggest fan of expressive art, but there is some colourful art that I included. Here's another board of a few more well-known artists. This is a Scottish artist called, I think John Laurie, Jolomo is his short. And that's what he paints on his paintings. And here's a close-up of the coronation of Tsar Nicholas II. And here's one more. This one has a lot of landscapes and a lot of animals and some beach scenes as well. And I do like to include photographs as well. Even some jewellery. This is a drawing that I did at work while I was particularly bored. It was a cover of a magazine and I decided just to copy it. Those were my paintings which were done just for myself, and those were painted on cardboard. But I also have a few that are painted properly on canvas. And this is the first one, which is a waterfall, but it's no place in particular. It's just that I like just the movement of water, and I wanted to practice to be able to paint it. Again, an exercise in displaying water, but I saw this as a picture. I've never been there in person. This is a Smook Cave in Sutherland, which is right in the north of the Scottish mainland. And I just wanted to paint it because I liked the way it looked. And this is Rowardennan Youth Hostel, which sits by the shore of Loch Lomond. And this is yet another picture that I've seen, and a place I haven't visited but I would love to visit, because I just loved the way the hills looked in the distance. And I am a fan of this type of painting, in particular the shadows that are sitting on the Scottish Highlands. And there's a few painters, 19th century Scottish painters, that I admire for being able to do it very well. It took me a long time to do all those trees because I wasn't completely happy and I kept going over and over them. But overall I like how it came out. This is the first of the Scottish castles. It's called Kilkern or Kilchurn, I'm not completely sure. And it's in the winter. It's once again a place I haven't been to and I would love to go to. So perhaps this year or next year I will manage to actually see it somewhere in the Highlands. And again, I was practicing the water here to display the mirror image in the water. This castle is called Huntingtower Castle, and it's in the outskirts of Perth. These paintings aren't particularly big, but they do have a painted side. And Huntingtower Castle is a place where King James VI of Scotland was held captive as a young teenager. And so I quite liked the idea of painting it. Of course, each Scottish castle has a Scottish flag blowing on top. This is Elcho Castle, which is in the vicinity of Perth, but slightly outside of it, so it's across the river. You can normally see it from the top of Canoe Hill. Haven't been there either. It's closed at the moment, but this is one place that I can imagine I might be able to go once everything reopens. This one's called Bahasa Castle, but as you can see it's not finished yet. Because I tend to take massive breaks when I paint. Sometimes I have phases of not painting for a couple of years. So we'll definitely try to finish this one, because I wanted to make it a series about the castles of Perth. I also have free paintings which have been painted for my local art association that I was a member of. And this one, now this is a place where I have been. This is on the top of a mountain called Skiralister. And the mountain across from it is called Skerderg. This is on the island of Skye. And it was such a big effort to climb up this mountain. And I took a picture on top. I took a couple of pictures. And you can see so far, you can see the coastal outline of Skye. And I just wanted to commemorate the memory of doing that big hike. And I had a lot of fun just painting all the details. I've taken it out of the frame just for you to be able to see it a bit better. This is a painting of Kinnail Hill, one of my favourite views here in the vicinity of Perth. It also took me quite a while to get all the details. However, when I did see it next to all the other paintings, because this was painted for an exhibition, because the local art exhibition does an annual exhibition, usually it was in the local museum. And when I saw it next to what other people had painted, I wasn't quite satisfied with the colours that I had used anymore, because they seemed not natural enough in a way. So it just shows you how different your own painting can look next to others. So getting more natural shades is maybe something I personally feel like I should be working on. And this is a painting of St. John's, which is the church right in the centre of Perth. And I came by St. John on a rainy day once, and I was quite impressed with the way it looked and the way the church would reflect in the stones. But then again, when I saw it in the gallery and I saw it next to the other paintings, I felt like it was missing something. And I think in the end I figured out that it was perhaps missing the people. So I feel like even though this painting is technically finished and it has been part of an exhibition, I kind of do want to change it. For example, I want to add a ray of sunlight coming through the clouds, and I want to add people walking in the streets with some colourful umbrellas. So that's my plan. So here it is without the glass. And I will get back to you once I've changed it.
is the end result, and I think I probably need to practice painting people a little more in the future.
If you made it this far into the video, thanks a lot for watching. And I'm curious, if you are a painter yourself, do you manage to be productive, or do you have phases where you just can't paint at all? In my case, it almost feels like I can not paint up to a year, or I've gone without painting for several years and then start picking up again. One of my problems is my high level of procrastination, which is mainly to do with not feeling enough pressure or accountability to finishing a piece. I can definitely manage to paint paintings for my relatives or have them ready for birthdays, but just paintings, the paintings that I just want to do for myself, or landscape paintings that I have on a list, I find them very hard to do. So this year, I definitely would like to get into more of a routine in terms of painting and start painting more, and hopefully get a lot of the paintings done that I was planning to do. And I would also like to use YouTube to hold me a little more accountable and to give updates on how my art is progressing. And I think I could do with a lot more practice as well. I like to paint mountains and houses, but I don't think my people and my animals look very good personally. And this is maybe a nice way to also track my progress here on YouTube. So thanks again for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time.